Well, our last we'll do a little bit of this is digging way back into the past, but our last roundtable and predictions, which again we're supposed to be for the rest of 24, but now we're into half of 25. So Jason said more volatility, VIX to 25. I'm gonna give him a win on that because I think he got to 82 at one point. But for a little bit longer period. Kyle said rates down. From 665 from 779s and value up. So the value up finally.
Hey,
rates down, meaning mortgage rates.
Mortgage rates. And mortgage rates are down. We're just not down maybe as much as we
they're more
thought.
that 7 versus that 8 range. So
yeah, Chris said
partial right.
Chris said tech M&A increased. Where are we at?
Non-researchable.
Yeah, non-researchable. Way to go, Chris. And then I said I was still staying with the 2024 rate cuts. No rate cuts and then cuts did begin, I believe, late 2024. So if we got any new, it's been a while, but we're halfway through rest of the year. What do we think it's going to look like?
I didn't have it written down, but speaking of rate cuts, the jury's out really on what's going to happen this year. And now if we get this with the tariffs, depending on what's really going to happen there, I guess we'll see. But Jerome Powell has a very good case not to cut. And I could see him making a case where,
they're still arguing too.
They still are.
So they're still saying that. And in his response, apparently, that he gave Trump on Thursday was that, the market is going to dictate this, not politics.
Right.
And so,
well, they're divided as a Federal Reserve Board.
Right.
Forget about Trump, interjecting any of it. They're not unanimous as a board. So and some of that again is regional too. And these boards, the governors of the board are from all over the place. So,
but I think it goes back to, if I recall, when we were talking about rate cuts last time, and it was no cuts for 2024, but it was kind of that. I still think it's potentially 2 cuts total, and that's kind of what we've seen. And if things hold true, it's from our last conversation to the end of 25, if it holds true, it was 2 cuts. Now I know they're still forecasting another 2, but it's definitely not. They're not coming down like everybody was talking. You remember back in the middle of last year, it was 6 cuts.
Yeah, no.
It was almost 2 full percentage points we were going to drop.
And I think that's something that we kind of talked about too, is that we spent so much time in that 0% interest rate environment that you start thinking that's normal. That's not a normal interest rate environment. And so, and it's actually better, we've talked about this before, that we do have some interest. Again, you should get paid for saving money, for putting money away, and it should cost you something to borrow, right? Mm-hmm. And you should. And the other thing is, if we do have economic slowdown and hiccups, then you have the ability to cut rates. If you're already at 0, what are you gonna do? Negative? No negative
tools.
rates.
No tools.
So
even though we've been here for a while, I was just talking to someone yesterday that still has cash way too much in a checking account, not knowing that they could be earning more on that. And so I would urge everyone, either talk to us, shop your cash. You don't have to take on risk to earn more than 0. The rates are up there. They've been up there.
Well, 90-day T-bills are still 4.30, 4.35. So,
right.
That's a pretty good number. And we won't quote any like mortgage or money market rates, but you should be getting north of 4 on what you're saving. So, for your emergency cash or if you're just talking apples to apples, there's no reason to keep money at the bank at 0.25% a year. It's
right.
You're costing yourself a lot of money.
They're not lending it out for that.
No, I don't think so.
No. Yeah, no, it's a more, like I said, it's a more normal, and it's what we talked about before. It's all tied together. That hey, that's why mortgage rates are higher. That's why car loan rates are higher, because rates are higher. So it all works together. But this is so I'll give you my prediction is I think rates hold. I really think that I'll stay with rates, and I don't think that we
talking about Fed fund rates,
and I think we'll be in a similar interest rate environment even on the 10-year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of movement because there's not a lot to move it at. Short moves, day to day, week to week, but economy looks pretty healthy so far.
Mm-hmm.
If we're just looking out 90 days, I'm just kind of sensing range bound with a lot of things, whether it's the interest rates or U.S. stocks. It just seems like and we always say this, but there's a lot of irons in the fire. when it comes to the tariffs, when it comes to the tax bill, just and historically what markets will do is just kind of sit on their hands until information is more known, right? Because the one thing markets hate more than anything else is uncertainty, and that's what we saw in April, the uncertainty around the tariffs. And so if there's more uncertainty now around a tax bill and things like that, I could see the market being more range bound until we have information. If the bill doesn't pass, if it does pass, things like that, I think in the short term, it would move the market. Again, these are 90-day predictions for our clients. This is irrelevant, but it's just kind of fun for us.
I was going to stick in the same spot. I mean, yes, whether or not I still think value is going to outperform growth or not, but I do think we're going to be in this range that markets are going to be very reactionary to news both directions. And so I think we've kind of set in our floor. Now we're going to set in our ceiling. And until we get more certainty on the tariffs, the tax bill, all that works out, I think that will determine which direction the markets can move further. And it'll just kind of stay in this trading pattern in between then. And we didn't even talk about it because it just got released or announced this morning here. But essentially one of the upper court federal courts just, said that Trump's tariffs were not okay anymore. And so, now he's going to appeal that. And so, again, there's still this uncertainty and change to what we talked about of what markets know and what markets are aware of, and that information is constantly evolving and changing. And until there's, more clarity on the big picture stuff, right? There's always going to be uncertainty and things we don't know about. But until we know, okay, well, is this tax bill going to get through, and what does it look like? And how long are these tariffs going to be in place, and what are they going to be at, and what the end game is? I think it's going to be kind of just in this trading range.
To go back to the very first slide, bring this full circle. I think that makes sense why having international, having diversified, maybe having some bonds in there, age appropriate, goal appropriate, et cetera. But that's kind of my prediction too, that if U.S. stocks are range bound, if interest rates are sideways range bound, then fixed income should do okay. If that's the case.
It's been a number of years we talked about before because of what interest rates did. But if we can collect that mid single digit 5, 6, 7% in our fixed income,
helps a balanced portfolio.
It's okay to be in it.
Right.
Age appropriate.
Chris?
The only thing I put in there really is I think I wrote down corporate arms race. There's so much investment going into artificial intelligence and robotics, and that part of the market is actually down for the year, probably more so than a lot of other places. And I'm not saying that the stock prices have to go up, but there's just going to be so much more corporate investment into that space that those companies that are tightly aligned with AI and stuff are have to benefit over time.
What's your prediction on a certain company and their taxi fleet taking off in Texas over the next month?
I have no idea.
Name left unmentioned.
Some of my favorite
relocate to Tulsa.
Some of my favorite videos to watch are the cars trying to park themselves in a parking lot. So
the self-induced traffic jam.
Yes.
Well, company aside, because there's more than one doing it, it's going to be interesting over the next years to come. Because that's definitely a trend. On seeing more and more, it's going to be less awkward when you see a vehicle without a driver.
No, people have to do it one or two times, and they'll immediately be comfortable with it again. I mean, you could have a bad experience. Don't get me wrong, but I think just like any piece of technology, I mean, wasn't very long ago people didn't want to touch a phone with their fingers, and move stuff around on the screen, and now everybody's got them. It doesn't matter age, it doesn't matter gender, it doesn't matter any of it. You most people have a smartphone now, and the things that everybody was afraid of, it goes away really quickly because figure out how convenient it is.
Well, people used to be scared of the internet.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, we don't do anything without it.
Correct. Yeah. The same people that told you I don't know about that, or the same people that call up and say, I just checked my balance, and did you buy some more of that thing? And you're like, yeah,
online.
I did. Yeah, I got it done. So.